Hey friends, Megan McIntosh here. Welcome to this video. I am coming to you from Zoom because my iPhone is not working well for this Zoom. So I wanted to, iPhone is not working with Facebook Live and I have no idea why. So I wanted to let you know of that first. If I'm a little bit strange on here in the get-go, I'm just checking my phone really quick to see if I can see any of your comments, as my screen is not showing them as of yet. So if you're there live, let me know. Say hi, drop a 1 down below in the comments. If you're watching right now, drop a 2 down below in the comments if you're watching the replay. And also let me know where you're coming in from, what city, what town, what country. Today, we're going to talk about what leaders look for in a coach. Very good topic, because I think a lot of people know that the coaching space has so many people in it. And how do you compete? And how do you compete as a leader in your niche so that people decide to hire you over someone else? So I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about some things that you might think you need to get hired, which you don't, and some of the things that are actually necessary to get hired by someone that's successful, by someone that's a leader. And that is what we're going to talk about today. So I'm just going to bring this Facebook group up on my phone as I talk to you all, so I can see if I can see any comments while I'm going live. Okay, good. I can see the live on my phone. Awesome. So first off, what do leaders look for in a coach? What is a leader? What is someone that is, so I think of someone that's a leader as someone that is already successful, someone that has skills in some area of their life, and maybe they're looking for coaching or to coach with someone to improve a specific area in their current life. I know that when I got into the coaching industry back in 2010, 11, I didn't know too much about coaching, but I was in sales management and I just wanted to upgrade my leadership skills and I wanted to upgrade my management skills. And I thought, oh, hey, coaching would do that. And I also was curious about coaching. I read about it and I thought, I think I would like to learn about this. And I didn't necessarily get into coaching or take the coach training to become a coach. I just took the coach training because I'm someone that likes to do a lot of training. I've taken 3 yoga teacher trainings, and I did teach a little bit of yoga, but I never did the yoga teacher training thinking I'm going to become this famous yoga teacher one day. It was really, I wanted to get the philosophy behind yoga. I wanted to get better at yoga. I wanted to become an expert in it. So that's one of the reasons why I took coach training, is because I wanted to really see if it's something I liked, right? A lot of people take coach training maybe because they feel like they need that certificate or they need that educational background to prove that they're a good coach. But I believe that that is actually one of the myths, okay? So I'm gonna drop into the mistakes and myths that people think that you need to get hired by a leader or hired by someone that's already successful, right? Because the thing is, if you want to get premium clients, if you want to get people to work with you that can afford to work with you, that have money to pay for you, and that they value your services and what you do, you want to make sure that you're hiring someone that is able to afford you, right? Is able to pay you what you're worth, right? And pay you what you're charging. And sometimes that's tough in an industry where sometimes coaches are looked upon for inspiration. And I know, especially in personal development, sometimes people get into personal development when they're actually not doing too well in their life, right? There's kind of 2 sides to personal development. I'll just touch on this really quickly and why you might think, how come sometimes I attract people that don't have any money and maybe they're having a hard time in life right now? And I look at personal development in 2 ways. There's oftentimes people get into personal development and get into bettering themselves and reading books like Tony Robbins and following people like Gabrielle Bernstein and just going down that seeker path because they are having a hard time, right? I know for me, I really got into personal development I mean, I'd probably been in it for a long time. I actually got into it when I was in sales first, and it was mostly sales management and sales leadership that I was looking into when I was looking into personal development. So I was not having a hard time. I wanted to improve myself. So that's one. You want to become, you want to upgrade your skills and step into your potentials, right? Potential growth and that next level. So I didn't know I was in personal development when I first got into it. I was simply just going into the bookshelves all about sales training and sales management. And a lot of those type of books on leadership and sales and learning how to mentor people are kind of right by the personal development aisle and similar type of topics and themes. So that's one type of person that might go into personal development where they're educating and they're mentoring other people. That's how I first got into it. But what's interesting is I also leaned on personal development, and what you'll find a lot of people get into personal development is when they're having a hard time in their life. And it's not necessarily therapy, but it's a way to help them feel better, right? I don't know if you ever watched the Tony Robbins documentary on Netflix, but what was interesting about it is he said that there's some people that go to his big events like Unleash the Power Within. And some people go are Hollywood celebrities, right? For instance, what is her name? Julianne Hough. I think she was in the movie. And she's from Dancing with the Stars. She's been in movies before. And she's obviously incredibly successful, right? And so she would go to Tony's events. But then he said that they also have to have people that are actually trained and people that are going through trauma, because he said that it also some suicidal people go to his events, and that are people like literally it's their last hope, right? They've tried everything, nothing works, they're depressed, they can't get through things. And so you have those two spectrums of types of people in the personal development industry. So I want you to understand that if you're becoming a coach or you're in the coaching space, you're going to have those types of people in your world that are following you. So you're not just going to have those high achievers and successful people, although you will have those, but you will also have those people that are seeking, that are searching, that are having a hard time, maybe down on their luck at that point in time in their life, right? And I know that when my mom was really sick and she was going through cancer, I leaned a lot on personal development just to make myself feel better, just to make myself feel happier and less sad about the grief that I was going through. And I would go on YouTube and find things about the meaning of life and things about Buddhism and how to feel good. So I just want you to understand that. Okay. So how do you then attract those leaders? How do you attract those successful people, those Julianne Houghs and those people that go to coaching and go to those type of events and follow Tony Robbins and other people in the personal development space, which if you're a coach, you're probably following that space. How do you attract those leader types, right? How do you attract those people that go into it to want to go on to that next growth level? One more point I wanted to mention too, which is also contrasting, is you might also know that people that are constantly on a search for growth are a lot of entrepreneurs. And what's interesting, that the articles that you might read on entrepreneurship is also that a lot of entrepreneurs have things that they struggle with as well, right? That you might hear that they are ADHD, or you might hear that they suffer from depression, or you might hear that some entrepreneurs are quite anxious and have specific things that they talk about in articles, right? Or maybe they mentioned that they were suicidal, or they had so many ups and downs, right? So entrepreneurship in itself can be that whole contrast of what you're seeing in the personal development space. So I think that's another interesting conversation. It's not just like, successful people and people that are not feeling 100%. You've also got those entrepreneurs who are successful, but who also go back and forth. So we are humans. We are going through human experience. We're never going to feel like completely whole, although it is important to constantly take us back to that being creative, resourceful, and whole. I learned how to coach through Coaches Training Institute, and that's the number one thing that we were drilled into our heads was you are creative, resourceful, and whole, and the people that you coach are creative, resourceful, and whole. So the questions that you ask and the way that you lead them is you always have to hold that truth about them and know that even if they are going through a hard time, even if they are successful, they are whole, they're creative, they're resourceful, so they can figure it out. You don't want to be their savior, right? You don't want to be that person that is it's a fine line. You don't want to be that person that is coaching them and always saying, oh yeah, I agree, I feel bad for you, and just kind of like a listening without holding them accountable to their goals, right? Coaching is very different from therapy and from other types of practices, because coaches really are trying to get you to that next level and are trying to get you to that growth. So I just wanted to mention that as well. Okay. Mentioning all these different things on the side pass. Okay, so now myths. Okay, here's some things that I think a lot of us might think. I mean, maybe you don't, but if you do, here's what they are. If you think, okay, maybe I need this, maybe I need to have this if I want to attract these type of people in, if I want to attract the people that are going to value me and know my worth. And I'm going to tell you that these are things that you don't necessarily need. Number one, it's a myth that you need coach training and proper education to coach. No, you do not. Now, that is very controversial. A lot of people say, ooh, but I think you should. I think it's appropriate and you should have that. You should have those skills. And yes, of course, I think personally, I love having skills. And personally, I went to coach training school, right? Hold on, I'm just going to have a drink of water. My gremlin's cup. It actually changes colors with hot water, but this is cold water, so it's still the little munchkin gremlins. I can't remember. They're not gremlins at this point. I can't remember what they're called. But then when the hot water comes on, it turns into like those scary gremlins. So what was I saying? Oh, education. Okay, so personally, I went to Coactive Coach Training. I didn't get the full certificate. I just did the foundational courses that you needed to learn how to become a coach. And then you can do like a whole thing to get certified. I just did the main courses. So it was months in the making to get the courses that I did. But I didn't feel like I needed the certificate because I learned the main things that you're teaching. And then I actually practiced with people. And so do you need to be educated to become a coach? Do you need to have coach training to have a coach? Do you need that to attract high caliber clients? You don't. How do I know this? Well, number one, because there's a lot of coaches in the industry that don't have it. And a lot of people don't necessarily look at that to hire you, right? They want to see other types of proof. Now, it might be a factor. Like some people might, if they're like deciding between a couple people, they might say, oh, this person went to this coach training school and this person went to this one. I prefer this coach training school, right? When I was looking at coach training school, I looked at all the different ones and I really thought that the one that I was going to be going to was, it looked more professional than other coach training schools, which is so silly. I'm sure they all are really good, but I was like, oh, this one looks better, right? But I don't think that people go that deep into education, simply because I myself have not hired coaches because of their coach training, which is kind of ironic that I've done that. Like my one-on-one coach, she actually has a master's in social. I think she was I don't even know her education. I know she has an MBA, and I know that she was a counselor or a I actually am not sure. I think she was a psychologist or social work or something. No, she wasn't. I actually don't know, but I know she's like an MA in some sort of counseling work, and she did a MBA. Oh, she's a therapist. Oh my goodness. She did have background in being a therapist, but I don't actually know where she went to get educated to do that. I don't know, what her background is in that. I don't even know what school she went to. So isn't that interesting? I have no clue. I don't have her curriculum vitae. I don't have her resume. I don't know where she got educated, right? I do know that she's an MBA and she was a therapist at one point, but I think that was very brief. And I know that she worked in a nonprofit, but that's it, right? So I didn't need to know the education. And that's a very high level coach. I work with a one-on-one coach. I've also worked in a mastermind with a very high high level coach where I paid a lot of money, and I have no clue her education at all. Zip, zero, no idea. Don't know if she even went to post education. Now, I'm sure she has a university degree, but I'm not 100% sure. Like, I'm pretty sure she does, but I didn't look to see if she did. So here's me, someone that has a university education. I have a degree. I have a postgrad. I did a postgrad in journalism. I have numerous yoga teacher trainings. I went to coach training school. But I mean, how many people are actually looking and divulging into my actual education? If they were to look, they'd be like, whoa, she's very well educated, right? And they would also then be able to see my my career background and how much career experience I have in mentorship and training sales teams and you know, being a leader. But in reality, the amount of work people do to check that information out, I'm telling you, people don't. So, I mean, I wouldn't worry about that. I mean, I think it's important that you have the education and experience from what you're going to teach, right? So, for instance, I teach about sales, marketing, and mindset. And I have a lot of experience in that. And so I feel confident in teaching that, right? Doesn't mean that someone has to look at all my education. And so I just assume that the people that I work with have experience in what they're teaching. So I do believe that you should be educated in terms of knowing what you're talking about, knowing your frameworks and your process, and knowing exactly what you're good at. But it doesn't mean that that's why someone's going to hire you, right? The proof is in the content that you give to people, and the proof is in basically the pudding, right? The proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the people who have had results with you. So the myth is education. I don't think that people look at education as much as you think. There's a lot of successful coaches out there that absolutely have no education in coaching. And maybe they stumbled into this world because they're really good social media marketers. And then they started maybe coaching on how to do social media on Instagram. And then maybe they just got into coaching because they were really good at teaching and training and mentorship. Okay. The second thing that a lot of people think you need is really good branding. So is it a plus? Is it a bonus to have high level and nice looking branding? Of course it is. I think it looks cool when I follow someone and I see their branding and I'm impressed by it. Of course, it's like that it factor. However, it's not a factor in terms of hiring someone. Why do I know this? Once again, the people that I follow versus the people that I follow for branding are completely different in terms of the people that I hire for coaching versus branding, because I'm aware that the marketing is not necessarily representative of their skills as a coach, right? You might be a really good marketer. You might know how to do great colors. You might be able to hire out a designer. You might know how to put your Instagram all nice and have branded professional photos on the internet. But that's a little bit of smoke and mirrors, right? Just because someone looks amazing online, just because they have great color schemes or they have a beautiful face or they look great, they have a great body, right? They know how all the poses and you know, all the cool dramatic looks. It doesn't mean they're going to be a good coach, right? It just means that they have excellent marketing. Now, if you're trying to learn how to do good branding and good marketing with your branding, yeah, you might want to hire someone that has that background, right? If you want to learn how to brand. However, marketing is a whole different thing. If that person's getting clients, if that person knows how to make money, then they're probably good at marketing and they don't necessarily need the branding. So branding, I do not think that you necessarily need to have like the best branding ever. Like you don't have to have the perfect website, have to have the perfect pictures before you start selling yourself online. Proof is the people that I've hired, it's not that they don't have good branding. You know, they have a nice social presence, but they're not like, oh my God, I want to have the same look on my Instagram as theirs. Definitely not. Okay. Third myth is that you need a ton of followers. Now, does it help you to have followers and a big network to get clients? Of course it does. And do people look at you a specific way if you have followers, right? If people say, oh, that person must be really popular and know what they're talking about, they have a lot of followers. Of course, right? People are just swayed in that way. But it also doesn't mean that someone's going to hire you because of that, right? Your content and the value you give is so much more important than the followers, because I've gone on people's personal social media platforms, Instagram, wherever, and I've looked at them and I'm like, oh, they must be good at what they do. And then you look at their follower account. But then you also hear people that pay for followers, right? And you start looking at their content and substance, and you're like, there's not really that much substance there. I'm not saying to everyone. There are some people with followers that it's valid reason why they have followers, because their content's excellent. But there's some people that it's just not valid. It's just like somehow they figured out the algorithm, they figured out how to be likable online, and that's how they got followers. Or maybe they paid people off. I know there's a lot of models that I've read on celebrity blogs, because I like to read my celebrity blogs, that talk about specific people online that are famous that have paid for followers. So it's something that if you know that people pay for followers, it's something that you should start becoming aware of, and not using that as a judgment for who to hire. Okay, so now I'm going to give you into what is it that people look for. Like, what do leaders and successful people want in a coach, right? What are the things that you can show to help you stand out, to help you attract in people that have money, that are smart, that are intelligent, and they're buyers that, you know, you're going to love working with them because they're like that premium type of client, right? So I have that here. I'm just going to take a really quick drink. I'm just going to check my phone to see if anyone's commented on here. I haven't seen anything. Okay, that's good. I know I'm going at a different time today than usual. Excuse me. Excuse me. Okay. I have 6 points. I'm just going to cover. It's going to be actually really quick because it's just literally 6 sentences. Okay. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm tired today. You know what's nuts is, okay, I was at my cottage for a long time, since middle of May, and maybe May 23rd. I just got back last night. So I was there for almost 3 weeks. I'm going back on Monday and staying there for a week and a half. I'm not sure exactly. But I'm a different person up there. I swear. It's by the lake. I'm 5-minute walk to the beach. It's just so relaxing. Oh my goodness. And I'm back in the city and I have not been able to sleep. I have no clue. It's just the strangest thing ever. Literally, I was up all night pretty much last night and the night before, and I just can't sleep. And it's not that I'm like, I just don't know why I'm wired. It's like the city is doing something for my energy. And so I remember when I lived in New York City, I used to say, and I don't live in like Toronto, I live in a suburb of Toronto. And I remember when I lived in New York City, I said that like adrenaline was in me. Like when I was living in New York, I could stay up so late. And I felt like literally when you live in New York, you've got like, I don't know, I'm pointing to my wrist. I'm pretending I'm putting adrenaline, and I don't even know if that's how you put adrenaline in your body, because I've never done that before. But you put adrenaline in you. It's like, oh, New York is like, ooh. So it's almost like that with Toronto, but not really where I am, because I mean, it's not too busy. It's just like something in the air. So I'm kind of tired. That's why I was yawning, because I have not slept properly since being here for the last 2 nights. So I'm actually really excited to get back to the lake, because then I'll just have the perfect sleep. And I think it's also because it's darker there and it's a darker room. All right, so let me tell you, number 1 is, what do leaders look for? Skill set. All right. So when they are looking to hire someone, oftentimes people are looking to hire you because they want to get better at a specific skill, or they want to get better at something that they're not good at, right? So you're solving a problem for them, right? It's a skill that maybe they don't have, maybe a problem that they have that you are able to help them with. So for instance, some of the coaches that I've hired in the past, I've hired them because I wanted to get better at the skill set of copywriting. I wanted to get better at the skill set of messaging, right? Really honing in on my message. I wanted to, I've taken coach training because I wanted to get at the skill set of getting better at actually coaching. Oh, I hope that keeps that yawning. So skill set. So how do you then showcase your skill set? This is where you talk about your expertise. This is where you become that person that truly knows your expertise, knows what you're good at, and is able to train on that. So, for instance, with me, I talk a lot about sales because that's a huge skill set of mine. And a lot of people don't have the skill set of sales. I talk a lot about the skill set of marketing and promoting yourself and getting visible. And I talk about mindset. And then another thing would be how to become a really good coach, right? So, those are kind of sales skill sets that people might come to me for to learn more about. Okay. Number 2, this one is more of a soft skill versus, actual things. But people are going to come to you for your authenticity and realness. So many people I have hired because I got to know them online. I've watched many of their videos. I've read their content and I just resonated. I resonated with who they are as a person. I resonated with their values. I resonated with the way they think, the way they talk, right? The way that they are real, they are authentic, and that education, the way they're able to express themselves. And so that's something that you want to start getting better at is your thought leadership in terms of that person getting to know who you are, not only your personality and your quirks and your things about you, but also your smarts, right? Like, how are you able to put yourself out there? How can you effectively come across as a leader? How can you effectively speak? How are you able to persuade and show up in a way that you are in conviction and in confidence? A lot of times, I was going to turn off my phone so it doesn't buzz again. A lot of times people look to people that are more confident than them or that are more conviction. I know in sales, that's the number one thing is someone's going to usually buy from the person that's more in conviction of what they're trying to sell. And so if you can get really grounded in your belief in yourself, in your confidence in yourself, and the conviction of what you're teaching, that is going to really show through in the content you put out there, and people will start believing you when they see that in you. Okay. Number 3, proof of concept, your framework, and your process. So this is really having a specific process. I mean, it doesn't mean you have to have a framework and step-by-step system out of the go. But when you are selling an offer or something, people really do want to know, how am I going to get there though, right? Like, well, it's wishy-washy. How are you going to take me there? And so that's why whenever I'm promoting my programs, I promote them with the actual process I'm going to take someone through so that they feel grounded. They feel, oh, good. I know the way I'm going to get there through Megan's process or through the specific sales process she's going to take me through, or this method that she's teaching, right? So it's really important to hone your methods, hone your process, hone your methodologies, your frameworks, and really know, how do you take that person from point A to point Z, right? How do you take, or as we say in Canada, point Z, we say Z. How do you take that person there so that they can feel that, oh, this is what we're going to do on our coaching journey, right? You're going to move around in it. It's not going to be 100% taking it the exact same way, right? When I'm coaching people, I'm holding space for them. I'm asking questions. I'm taking them on a journey, but I'm always aware of the process. I'm always aware of my frameworks for what I'm teaching so that we continue to cover that. Okay. Number 4, the results you get for your clients, the results you have for yourself. You have to showcase your results. You have to let people know that you have proof of concept and you have results from this proof of concept, that you have results from what you've done and when you've coached. And so you might be saying, well, I don't have any proof. I've never done this before. I've never taught anyone this thing before. That's okay. You can practice coach with people. You can talk about your own results, right? If you're not sure about this, I could work with you on this, but I think it's so important to get testimonials from people, to get case studies from people, and really consistently get better at what you're teaching and show off, right? Be okay with showing off your skill set. Be okay with saying, hey, look, I help this person. It's not only going to get you clients and draw people in by showing how good you are, by other people saying you're good, because you can say I'm amazing all you want, but unless someone's saying it for you, it doesn't come across the same. You really do want someone else to kind of sing your praises. And not only does it help you get clients that way, but it also feels good for yourself. Like if you're having a down day, you can actually go back to your testimonials. This is the thing that they used to teach us in our sales, is when I was a sales leader, is keep all your testimonials and keep all your case studies. So whenever you're having a hard sales day or whenever you're feeling less motivated and driven, look at who you've helped and look how you've helped them, and it'll make you feel better. It'll make you feel like, no, my work is important. This is so important what I'm doing. And I have 2 more points here. Point number 5 is your ability to give people mini shifts within your content. So when you're putting your free stuff out there, your content, your Facebook lives, your Instagram stories, your posts, whatever it is, your content, right? That outward facing content that people are going to because they trust you and they want to learn from you. You want to be able to have your content give them shifts, right? Mindset shifts or aha moments. So it doesn't mean that this whole video that I'm giving you, you're going to be writing ferocious notes, right? It means if I can do this video and then you think, oh, that was said in a different way, or, oh, that's a good point. That's really going to help me on my journey. They'll remember you, right? So even if you just have a couple points that someone's taking away from that aha moment, right? Those small shifts lead to those bigger shifts. And that's why we watch content, right? That's why we follow people that we want to learn from, is because we want to feel that shift. We want to feel that aha moment. And so I want you to constantly be thinking, how can I say this differently? How do I give someone an aha moment? How can I teach this in a way that someone's going to be looking at this topic differently, right? Because people generally, if you're in a specific niche, are talking about similar things. So how can you put your spin on it or teach it in a way that makes it different? And lastly, what do leaders look for in a coach? They want to feel inspired that they can do it too. That it's like, wow, maybe that person was in the same place as me and now they're here, right? That before and after is a good way to think about it, right? So it doesn't mean you have to do before and after pictures like you see in weight loss journeys online, but really thinking about, don't be afraid to share your journey. Don't be afraid to share your vulnerabilities. Don't be afraid to share your humanness, right? Because if you're coming online and talking about how amazing you are all the time and all your skills and your top 10 tips and your 3 strategies, that's awesome. But a lot of times people don't always just want to get educational content. They want to learn about you. They want to learn about your substance. They want to learn about your depth. And often depth comes from those periods in your life where you've actually overcome something or you struggle through something. So, I mean, that's a lot why I talk about my mom and grieving her death, because that was a struggle that I went through. That was a long period of grieving. But when I got through it, I had so many lessons and teachings to teach on that. Once I was through all that, I just felt so much more empowered to teach other people and had more compassion. And so there's things that you have gone in your life and gone through in your life and maybe are scary to talk about or they're hard to talk about, but they are going to create that that connection and that level, right? Like you being on the same level. I think it's the worst thing is seeing someone and putting that person, that coach, on a guru level, because really when I coach with people, I always think them as creative, resourceful, and whole. And I don't think that I'm better than them. I think of them as just as amazing as I am, but that maybe there's a skill set that they just are coming to me for, right? And so when I'm in a coaching relationship with someone, I'm learning just as much from them as they are learning from me. And I love that about coaching. And I think the best coaches think that way. They don't think about their clients as being less than or not as smart as them. They look at their clients as and I don't even like to, when people say, oh, they're a step behind you, right? They might be a step ahead of you in another area of their life, to be honest. And so it's really, they're coming to you for a specific skill set and a specific problem that you solve. That's it, right? They're just coming to you for a problem that you solve as your expertise and your coach, right? As a coach and that support. And so that's how I look at it. And so I'm like, oh, I'm so excited. Whenever I coach with someone new, I'm like, who's this person all about? I'm so excited to learn about them. What am I going to learn from them? Oh my gosh, this relationship is going to be just as empowering and enriching for me. How blessed and how lucky do I feel to work with this person? I'm telling you, I just feel so good and lit up when I talk to people. And when they say, oh, you helped me and it was such a great growth experience for me, I'm also feeling grown and have that experience myself as a coach, because so many people that I work with are just so brilliant and amazing entrepreneurs. So it's just, you want to have that feeling of I can do it, and that you're just like me. And the way to do that is to really put some of your vulnerability in your content and being real and showing that you are just like them, and not talking to them down to people like you're better than them, right? So that's all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed this live. And if you would like a coach, if you're interested in coaching with someone, I would love to get on a call with you and talk to you about what you're going through in terms of getting more clients into your business. Maybe you want to learn how to get more leads. Maybe you want to learn how to really get fully booked in your practice, in your coaching practice, or whatever service-based business you're doing. My expertise is sales, marketing, and mindset. So what that means is I have a really great way of teaching people how to sell in a way that's feminine, that is empowered, that doesn't feel pushy or salesy. And I teach people how to really take those customers from cold lead to sale and look at the bottlenecks that might already be in your business, or if you're already making sales, and find out where the leads are falling through the cracks and figure out how you can actually get an abundance of leads. And I'm also really good in marketing. I've also been a marketing director. And so I can help you with that content strategy and really help you decide, okay, with the time that you have, how can we create a content strategy that works with your personality? What are the type of things that you can do in social media? How can we become consistent with it? And how can we get it so that you're visible, so people know what you're doing and what are you good at, right? And that would be like the marketing and the messaging piece. So if you're interested, I will put a link below for my to get on a call with me. I would love to get on a call with you. It's absolutely free. It's a 30-minute call, and you'll walk away with 2 to 3 things that you can do personalized for your own business. When I do Facebook Lives and I do content like this, I'm really doing a very generalized piece of, thought leadership. But when I'm working with you one-on-one, or when I'm doing a call with you where we're really value-based, I actually do a questionnaire beforehand to find out your business, so that we can really nail down the areas in your business that you want to focus on, so that you actually have things that you can use, strategies that you can take away with you. And then if you decide to work with me, great. If not, no worries. It's a free call where you get free value from me. So thank you so much for watching. I will put the link below for that call in this, the comments, or it'll be in the link in my bio if you're watching from Instagram. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day or evening, wherever you are in the world. Bye.